welcome, fellow Chimera Sharks! I'm Chimera, and this week's story features an android called Sir Sparks. Now, I'm sure that if you're watching this, you probably like stories and robots and androids. Well, at least I'm hoping you like robots and androids, because that's this week's story. So without further ado, I present The Legend of Sir Sparks, Tales of an Android. And so, the legend begins. One of my first memories was waking up as a computer, as all androids start out. When an android is born, our processing is asked what pronouns we would like to be called. And my processing chose he, him. My android parents chose the fitting name of Sir Sparks for me, and so that is what I am called. I have always dreamed of being a knight in shining armor, and so my parents, Michael and Bobot, bought me knight pajamas at the fitting age of 6. I wore them everywhere, and even now, I keep them in my drawer, although I am too tall to fit them. Right now, I attend the University of Roosevelt, where I am majoring in gardening, a highly desired profession among androids. Although I am not sure why, as it includes watering plants, which is something we are all deathly allergic to. I have a pet cyborg rabbit. Her name is Angela. I love Angela, but sometimes she breaks into my garden and eats the carrot plants that I've been growing. That makes me mad at Angela, but I don't want to be mad at Angela. It just happens. Today, I am visiting my dad and my Bati for spring break. Bati is my nickname for Botbot. They picked it out when I asked what they would like for me to call them. I was just a young bolt then. An android society is typical for a parental unit to build a new body for their children every year, growing as they age. For that reason, there are many variations in how us androids appear. Most parents will build their children to resemble them. However, there are some oddities to the norm. For example, my sister looks nothing like my parents. I'm not sure if she's going to be there when I arrive at home today. The car android driving me at the moment is called Simon. I'm very excited. We're going to the amusement park on the second day, just like I used to love. They always had one night ride that made me very happy. It was one of the older rides. It was a small roller coaster covered with empty suits of armor that flashed when you rode past them. I would always dream of being swept away in that world full of wonder where I could be the hero in armor that I always wanted to be. Simon approached my parents' driveway. The rough road caused the whole of the car to shake, rocking me back and forth. My parents were standing outside, waving their metal arms. I ran up to them, hugging Dad and Bati. They hugged me back and asked about how university was. I smiled, answering that it was wonderful and Angela is also doing well. I walked inside, clanking against the red pavement as I went. I led myself to my old room, passing familiar portraits that had been hung for years. My sister's door was locked. Her do not disturb sign was hanging as usual, meaning she was here, but not in a good mood. I passed, not knocking on her door. It's always better, like the sign says, not to disturb her when she's angry. The hallways were clean, freshly swept, probably by Bati. They always did like it to be clean, although we really don't have to worry about germs being metallic. I opened the door to my old room, feeling a sense of nostalgia as I sat on my bed. It creaked as my weight went onto it, sheets covered in patterns of castles and swords. I closed my eyes, taking a deep breath that was really just my processor cooling down. Sleeping for an android is pairing off at night, giving your system time to both calm down and recharge. It's a necessary part of the day. I hope to think of castles and roller coasters that night, excited for the day that was to come. I woke to Dad yelling at me to go and brush my neural cranium machinery and then join them for breakfast. Breakfast that morning included an assortment of different energy cords, each flavored uniquely. I plugged in the blueberry pancake flavored cord, enjoying the stream of taste flowing into me that came with the power to go on that day. I noticed that my sister had not joined me and our parents at the table. A sense of worry overcame me. What is going on with her? I thought. I headed outside with my parents, skipping across the driveway to the car happily. "Slow down, you're going to fall," Dad said. My skip came to a halt and I entered the back seat. Bati ran to the front door, swinging it open. "Come on, we're going to be late for the amusement park if you don't hurry," Bati said with a hint of frustration in their voice. Bati ran back to the car, hopping inside the driver's seat and starting the engine. My sister walked outside, hood drooped over her face as she slouched, looking down at her cell phone. She exhaled deeply as she got into the car and said in a very teenage way, "Are you happy? I'm here." Dad rolled his eyes, and Bati started driving. Our car was old school. Most cars these days drive themselves or are androids of their own. However, all androids in the driver's seat must still have a license for safety reasons. The car ride there was bumpy, but we made it in a solid 2 hours. You could see the top of the night ride peeking out above the check-in venue. The metallic silver reflective flash when the sun bounced off it. The excitement was overwhelming for me. But when I looked over, my sister was still buried in her phone. She didn't even look up when the car stopped. "Well, kiddos," Dad said, "we're here, so let's try to have a fun day." I smiled at him and unbuckled my seatbelt. I placed my fingers into the car handle to eject, but when I pushed it, it refused to open. "Oh, sorry, Sparks," Bati said. "I must have it on child lock." Bati got out and opened each of our doors. Walking inside the park and going through the check-in is like the chill before the fun. It's just something everyone has to do. These days, most androids are made out of metal, so metal detectors are useless. And on top of that, weapons like knives or guns really wouldn't work on most. Now, there are virus scanners, the real disease of androids and robotic machinery alike. We each entered through the scanners, passing the check for known viruses. I hurried ahead, grabbing my sister's hand and pulling her with me. "We're going ahead to the night ride," I said. "Okay, that's fine, Sparks. Just take care of your sister," Bati replied happily. We left, but my worry for her increased when I grabbed her hand. It was really warm, and I was starting to get worried her tech was having a meltdown. "Are you okay, Elek?" I asked, worried. "I'm fine, Sparks, and don't hold my hand." She pulled away from me, but continued to follow behind. We both knew the path well from experience. While standing in line, Elek continued to stare at her phone while I thought of Angela and how she was doing at home with my college buddy I asked to take care of her for a few days. The line was moving slowly, but I was just happy to be there. "This is going to be so much fun, Elek," I said. She rolled her eyes at me and said, "Yeah, okay," sarcastically. "Is there anyone with 2 or less androids?" the attendant called out. I raised my hand and she had us come up to the front of the line to ride. We sat in the roller coaster seats, but while I was excited, Elek didn't look so good. The attendant started counting down from 5. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and the roller coaster took off. I put my hands up, but when I looked behind me, I noticed that Elek's seat protection bar had gone up, and her eyes weren't normal. Instead of her usual teal-colored eyes, there was a code that was scanning, most likely from a virus. I thought about it while the ride was going up and realized the virus would have to be a new strand. It was most likely what had caused the safety precaution to become unlatched. My mind was racing, thinking of a solution. I told Bati I would take care of her, and I was going to do just that. I summoned my android strength and pulled up my harness as the roller coaster rolled up slope to the drop line. During gardening school, I had learned many useful techniques, although most not for this situation. However, there was one solution I could think of. At the beginning of my time at Rosebolt University, I learned of a specific plant that could help with the overheat of a virus. At the time, it really freaked me out to think about viruses, but because of that, from that class forward, I always kept the plant we learned about on my person. Standing up was difficult, especially with the motion of the roller coaster, but I had to do it, now, before the drop. Otherwise, she would fall, and so would I, and then who would take care of Dad and Bati? All the passengers were staring up at me in terror as I moved, the machine pupils dilating in worry and concern. It was too late to stop the ride, although it looks like the teenage androids were trying. I jumped over the seat and crouched in front of my sister. There was a big enough space in front of her that I could do something. I grabbed her head and unscrewed the emergency panel in the back of her head, putting in the code only our family knew to unlock access to her processor. Carefully but quickly, I swiped through the settings searching for injection. At last, I found it on the screen, selecting the option. A loading screen appeared, but I wasn't sure if there was enough time to get it done before the fall. Counting upwards, it took a few seconds, going from 25 to 50 to 100%. It beeped, and with that sound, I squeezed the plant in my palm, the juices sinking into her system. After a moment, the bar lowered again. It looked like the plant had worked, but at that same moment, I also felt the cart drop. I flew backwards, banging against several areas of the ride until reaching the end of the rows of seating. There was a bar. I oriented myself and grabbed onto it. I won't lie, I screamed a scream of horror and beeping. I was holding on for my life, and I wasn't going to let go. The roller coaster, although short, was fast, and for that reason I could feel the wires in my arms stretching. But suddenly, a sense of relief fell over me. The ride had stopped. Looking behind me, I could see employees running over to the ride, screaming. A ladder was placed up where the ride had stopped, and they told me to climb down. I gladly agreed, although I was a little sad that I missed the ride. When I reached the bottom, an employee climbed up and retrieved my sister, bringing her to the infirmary. A police android walked up to me and said, "Wow, kid, that was really stupid, but very heroic and knightly. You should be proud. You saved your sister's life." My processor filled up with a happy warmth, and I knew I'd lived my dream. A dream of becoming a real-life knight in shining armor. Thank you for watching, fellow Chimera Sharks. I'm Chimera again, and this was The Legend of Sir Sparks, Tales of an Android. I really do hope that you have fun watching. To see you next time. So be sure to click all those buttons to help me out. Bye!